joke, a trick, a foolish thing. I don't have any of those for you. Sorry. Decided not to do it. I thought about it for a second. It's too early for jokes. I don't joke about coffee. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Thursday. It is April 1st, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Super tasty. I didn't find my salt, but I grabbed other salt. Needed the salt. Need salt in my coffee. It's too good without it. It's too good with it. Well, Wednesday. Wednesday was a good day. Wednesday was a good day. Shipped out a package to a customer. Actual sparring gear, because we have like a little bit in the warehouse. Teeny weeny little bit. Shipped out some sparring gear. What else did we do? It's snowing. Did you see the opening graphic? Did you see that? That's snow. Now, to be fair, because people are freaking out about this, everyone around me seems to be forgetting that it's unseasonably warm, and then the fact that the snow is gone is weird. So the fact that we have snow isn't really weird. It's very normal. What is abnormal is that it's not snow on top of more snow. But it's like 30-something degrees, and so it's this kind of sleety, snowy thing going on. Daniel says, average snowfall. Absolutely. It's in... what else did I do yesterday? The new website is almost done. Almost. I got a little bit more to do on graphics. I got one person looking it over. She found some spots where some links were broken, so I fixed those. But it should be ready for launch tomorrow, which I'm pumped about, because that'll create some changes in the way we advertise the programs. And yeah, it'd be cool. Daniel says he's expecting more accumulation. That's not actually what he said, but there was an intentional double entendre there that I will not be repeating for the sake of the audience. If you're watching this, I think you get to watch that replay. Yeah. Stacy says, ha! Yeah, there was, that's something that's really interesting. The way I conduct myself in public media like this, in First Cup on Martial Arts Radio, Whistlekick Live, etc. I don't want to say I'm inauthentic, but one of the decisions I made early on, in my day-to-day life, I can be crude. I use foul language. If you know me personally, you know that I swear more than a little. And there have been times that I've slipped, and definitely plenty of times I've almost slipped. But why haven't I carried that through into these shows? And the reason is, I don't want anyone to tune out because of this. Daniel says, you are public facing? Ha! I don't want people to say, I like that Whistlekick stuff that they do, but I don't like Jeremy's language. I don't want that to be a barrier for anyone. I don't want anyone to say, I'm not going to watch or listen or whatever, because Jeremy can't keep control over the words he uses. And that's really what it is. It may be difficult, but I have control. There are words that come out of my mouth from time to time that I go, oh, I got to change this. But they do get to see you in a sweet robe. That's right. This is some of you who have dubbed this the Jedi robe because it has a hood. I really want like a hooded cloak cape sort of thing. I've looked. The only ones out there are cheap polyester, non-functional. I would totally wear this on hikes. I absolutely would if I had the right robe. Not robe, cloak, because my arms would have to be free. I don't know that I would put my arms through things. I think it would be more of a drape with a hood. I need a whistlekick branded one. I could, but no one would buy it. Look, the number of things that we've put the name on that I thought people would buy. I did the crazy warm sweatshirt thing with the Sherpa fleece on the inside and the long. It was basically a cloak. We sold one to me during development. Dan's pushing for a merino wool limited edition whistlekick cloak, 30 pieces. The retail on that is probably going to have to be, I'm going to guess, in the 300 to 400 range. Yeah, because you're talking an expensive fabric and you're talking custom work. That's and if you're watching or listening and you say, "Oh, 400, so you'd make some money." No, that's probably us breaking even. When I do limited edition stuff, I don't set out to make money. I set out to break even, in the hopes that people will really appreciate things. When we have something like this that we sell, and we sell ongoing, I think if you buy that mug, we make like $1.50, maybe $2. It's not much. If you use a discount code, we make 15% less than that. But that's okay, because it's the long game. We're playing the long game. Wool cloaks in the LARP market start at like $250. Well, there you go. So if you want to customize it, wool is such a great fabric. It really is. I wouldn't farm sheep, but the idea of farming sheep for their wool and shearing them down and then having a product that isn't meat, that's kind of neat to me. But as much as I like sheep, and those of you, let's see, last fall I I took care of a sheep farm, and I think I posted some pictures. They weren't on whistlekick, but if you follow me personally, you would have seen those. And those guys were awesome. But sheep are not smart. Sheep are kind of dumb. And so the idea of having to deal with sheep in my backyard, keeping them out of stuff, keeping the bears away, keeping the dogs away, and all this work, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Daniel's agreeing. So dumb. The real money in animals like that, it's breeding. You pick up a couple animals and you breed them and you sell them off, and that's where you make the money. The wool is just kind of it helps. It dilutes. I'm having trouble with words this morning. Some of the costs. Daniel says, some species will eat themselves to death. Yeah, similar to humans. You were caretaker at the farm. There we go. And the sheep were funny. The sheep were funny. I really enjoy the sheep. July. I'm going back in July. They're taking another trip. I'm super pumped. The sheep and the ducks. Chickens. I find most chickens to be really annoying. Once in a while, I'll meet a chicken who's kind of cool, but they're usually pretty dumb. I grew up with chickens, not in my yard, at the farm next door, and I have no problem picking up a chicken and petting it if it's game to interact. But most of these guys were just kind of run around. But the sheep are cool. The dogs were mostly cool. The ducks are a riot. Ducks are just the funniest animals. Goats are one of my favorites. If it was a goat farm, I would probably move in. Hey, I'm going to be your permanent caretaker. How's that? Goats are just the best. I've thought about getting goats. But as challenging as sheep are, or dogs, or any other animal, goats are pretty much the incarnation of chaos. There's a reason that isn't it a goat that sometimes when the devil's represented in animal form, it's a goat. I always thought that was fitting, because goats are crazy. They jump on things and they eat everything, and they're destructive and chaotic, and they're so much fun, especially when they're not yours. Goat's alignment is chaotic neutral. Okay. Okay. Did I do anything else worth telling you guys about yesterday? No. Shipped a box. Met a new employee at one of my clients over Zoom. I think that's it. So let's see what you gave me to talk about. Shelves aren't done. Maybe today. I'm hearing rumors of today. In D&D terms, goats can totally take out commoners too. Ha! Goats are goats are the best. All right. So got some stuff in here from Frank, from Daniel. Here we go. So Frank has some quotes on foolishness for April Fool's Day. And Daniel's asking to hear some commentary, reflection on the work other YouTube channels and their creators are producing. I don't know if it fits this format or not. I'm happy to talk about that on here. I'll respond to that first. There's a lot of content on YouTube. And one of the things I'm finding really interesting about YouTube in general is what gets people engaged. So as someone who runs several YouTube channels, excuse me, for myself, for clients, I take a look at the numbers behind it, the analytics. What brings people in? Now, when you're starting out, you've got a little bit from your subscribers as you build those up. Like let's take the Jeremy Lesniak Martial Arts channel, for example. I think there are 31 subscribers right now. Not very many. If I put a video out, the maximum I'm really going to see for views on it is 31. But not everybody watches it. Some people might watch it more than once. But really, from that 31, I'm seeing like 8 or 10. Okay, so a third of people who are subscribed will watch. That's a good number. We don't see that number on whistlekick. We have 2,200 subscribers on the whistlekick channel. If we put something up, we definitely don't see 800 views right away. So where do the rest come from? It comes from discovery. It comes from YouTube recommending things. How does YouTube recommend stuff? It looks at a few things. Similarity to other videos that you've watched, that you engaged with and liked. And that's based on keywords and titles and subject matter. As well as how long did other people watch this video? Did they like it? Did they comment on it? Did they watch the whole thing? Did they watch something else from this channel after? So there's this funky algorithm that goes on. And what that creates is this whole economy that is around creating these fairly short, in many cases, often inflammatory videos, often dramatic. If you take a look at the videos that we put out at whistlekick, they're not controversial. You look at the videos that I'm doing on my martial arts channel, they're not really controversial. So they don't spark a lot of passion in people one way or the other. On my personal channel, when I put out all the videos about my car being problematic, that sparked a lot of passion. My best videos there have a ton. In fact, the number one video, I think it's the number one video, has more thumbs downs than thumbs up. Why? Because people were being defensive of Mazda. It's a terrible video. It's me sitting in the car holding the phone. saying, I'm going to make videos showing all the problems with my car. That's the one that YouTube decided to run with and show to everybody. Great. And what I see from a lot of YouTubers is that sort of content. Now, we're talking more specifically about martial arts. There's a lot of great martial arts content out there. The challenge I have with much of it is that it is very authoritative. There was somebody on TikTok the other day who said, oh, here's what it was. They were responding to somebody's question about Cobra Kai. You know, they're talking about Cobra Kai. Would the crane kick have been illegal? And they said, absolutely. In most competitions, you can't do a jumping kick. And I said, it's not really true. And then they responded to my comment to say, in these organizations, you're talking about specific, basically like JKA, Shotokan-ish karate competitions. Now I know where you're coming from. You're taking this narrower understanding of your world and applying it broadly and assuming that it is the case. And this is one of the challenges that I have with reported martial arts channels that are really karate or kickboxing or this particular style of Taekwondo channels and information, because they present it as if it is authoritative on a broader scale than it really is. If you want to learn Kyokushin karate, you go to a Kyokushin karate person. If you want to learn Kyokushin on YouTube, you go to a Kyokushin karate YouTube channel, and they're going to talk about that subject matter. Great. But the moment that information is presented as if it is applicable to, I don't know, in other varied styles of martial arts. When you talk about, here's a great one. In Kyokushin, leg kicks, in Kyokushin competitions, leg kicks, to my understanding, are generally allowed. When I see Kyokushin style martial arts, karate, being done in competition, there are leg kicks. It's an important part of their fight game. If I was to do a video on the Kyokushin leg kick, shin kick, and then say, do this in your next competition, and suggest that it is applicable in most competitions, I would be wrong. Can't shin kick in most point tournaments, at least not any of them that I've seen. Your general open competition, the things that I would think of as being open points to a point, I can't talk today, style tournaments here in the United States. And so that's my issue. And it's not entirely the fault of the person making the content. This is why when we look at YouTube, I don't see us making a bunch of content for YouTube. I've looked at it. I've thought about it. We've tried. People seem to want to be told what to do. They want you to tell them what to do, how to do it. This is the right way for one of two reasons. They want to argue with you, or a smaller group of people says thank you. This is why YouTube works. Hey, here's how you build a table. Here's how you fix your dryer. Works really well there. I'm getting some comments in here. Daniel says, the three I like the most are Funker Tactical, Jesse Uncamp, and Martial Arts Journey. I'm not familiar with Martial Arts Journey. Of course, we've had Jesse on the show, and Funker Tactical is Ryan. What's Ryan's last name? Ryan's been on the show. That's a person who has no problem stirring the pot. We're Facebook friends, and I see his posts. Great guy. And then Daniel follows up. Any topic, really? People apply their anecdotal experiences normative. They do. But in day-to-day life, people aren't taking the next step of moving from normative to authoritative, and then putting out a video that says, this is the right way, because I did this thing right one time, this is how everybody should do everything. I'm not seeing a lot of that. But here's a, and you know what, Daniel, you're going to understand this. I responded in a group at one point a couple weeks ago. Most martial artists have an understanding of their own martial arts. They have a limited to zero understanding of what is done outside of their own world. Thus, they are unwilling or unable to empathize with things that could be completely different. Here's an example for, if Stacy's still watching. Ryan Hoover, yes, thank you. In ITF Taekwondo, you are taught as you step to bring your head up a bit and settle down. There's the why, forget about it. In traditional karate, you are taught to avoid that at all costs. Thus, if you do a traditional ITF Taekwondo form in an open competition, you will be scored down for that because most people don't know that that is a thing you are supposed to do. Now, if I'm in the chair and I recognize the form or the patch and I know that that's what they're going for, I'm going to judge them on how they've implemented it. Same thing with Kempo. The way most Kempo forms are done and what you are working towards is different than a lot of other martial arts styles. Why do I know this? Because I've spent some time training Kempo. There's more than one way to get to the goal line. And the problem with most people, and thus most martial arts YouTube channels, is that they look at it as, this is the way, the only way. Any other way is dumb and wrong, and you're stupid for believing it. And you look at the comments, and that's what it turns into. This is why, when I took a look at, I wanted to test some video content of things that I work on. It's why we're not putting it out as whistlekick. Because it's not even close to, this is the right way. And I say that like 6 times in each video. This is a way, and this is a way I like and do and think about. But if we, even that, I know it's going to happen at some point as it grows. People are going to come through, this is wrong, that's wrong, blah, 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 blah. And I just don't want to deal with that for whistlekick, because what is whistlekick? Whistlekick is meant to be unifying. We are a broad martial arts organization. Okay. Stacy's telling me I need more coffee. So I'm going to leave it there. I don't watch much in the way of martial arts YouTube content, and when it comes up on other platforms, I watch it very sparingly because the attitude that comes through, just, ugh, I don't like it. The nuance falls out. Nuance is critical. I've been training long enough. I don't need somebody to teach me how to punch. If you're going to show me a different way to punch, cool, I want to learn that. And I want to learn why you're doing it that way. And I want to learn those little adjustments. But that's not what I tend to see. And so Frank has some quotes on foolishness to celebrate April Fool's Day. I'm not going to be playing any tricks on anybody. I'm assuming nobody's playing any tricks on me. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain. And most fools do. Benjamin Franklin. It's really easy to point fingers. It's really easy to point out mistakes, to throw shade, you know, however you want to think of it. I try not to do that. It's a waste. It's wasteful, wasted energy. Doesn't get you anywhere. What's the point? A wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. Bruce Lee. Ooh, I like that. When someone asks a foolish question, it tells you a lot about their understanding. Now, foolish questions can fall into 2 categories. You have the question that is completely ignorant, And then you've got the question that is asked with an agenda. I have no problem with people asking questions that they think maybe they should know the answer to. I don't care. I'm going to ask a stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If you don't know the answer or you want reinforcement to your belief of the answer, I have no problem. Ask me that question. I think that's important. And I don't like when people are dismissive of questions. But what about the other question? The question with an agenda. So, are you saying that, and then they run off and they put words in your mouth. I don't like that crap. Ask the question that you mean to ask. But if you are going to take someone's time, and if you actually care about their answer, ask it with some humility. If your attempt to ask if your reason for asking a question is to make the person you are asking look bad or less than you, you're a crummy person. Just straight up. And there are so many people who do this. So what you're saying is, bleh, I don't need it. Daniel's commenting on the third YouTube channel, the one that I'm unfamiliar with. Martial arts journey is a dude who opened an Aikido school and then thought he could compete against combat sports. Failed, and takes us through his humility of cross-training. Oh, interesting. That sounds familiar. I think I've seen a couple videos from that. But that concept sounds familiar. And our last one here, hey, if you've got questions or comments, tomorrow's Friday. Frank's going to throw some jokes. Make sure you tune in. But if you've got some questions or comments or other stuff, I like what Daniel threw in here. I love responding to the quotes, but I love responding to questions. I love talking about subject matter. If you know anything about me and martial arts radio, I go pretty deep on this stuff. Speaking of which, we got an episode out. Episode 593. Are experience and progress the same? Check that out. It's up. Okay. Don't forget, we do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time here on YouTube. Catch it later in audio form. If you're watching, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications. And our final quote of the day: people do not wish to appear foolish. To avoid the appearance of foolishness, they are willing to remain actually fools. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant of something. But there's a whole lot wrong with intentionally, willfully remaining ignorant. Don't do it. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Watch out for people playing tricks. Take care, everybody. Peace.